Classsprout Kids Story Time.
Benny's Big Baking Mistake. In the heart of the forest, there was a small, cozy cottage. This was Benny the Bear's home. Benny loved two things more than anything else: his friends and baking sweet treats. Today, Benny said with a big smile, "I'm going to bake the tastiest cake ever." He pulled out his biggest mixing bowl and started adding flour, sugar, eggs, and a huge jar of honey. Benny stirred the thick, gooey batter. But as he mixed, he noticed something strange. The bowl was overflowing. "Oops, I think I used too much honey," he said, scratching his head. But Benny was determined. He poured the batter into a pan. He carefully slid it into the oven. "Now, we wait," Benny said, setting the timer. Suddenly, pop! The cake exploded out of the pan, spilling all over the kitchen floor. "Oh no," Benny cried. "The cake is huge. It's a giant cake." "I have to fix this," Benny said. He grabbed his biggest wooden spoon and started scooping the cake back into the pan. But the cake was so sticky and stretchy, it just kept slipping through his paws and spreading even more. "Oh dear, this isn't working at all," Benny said with a sigh. He needed help. He spotted Polly the squirrel perched on a branch. "Polly," Benny shouted, "can you help me? I made a giant cake by accident and it's taken over my whole kitchen." Polly's eyes lit up. "A giant cake? I love cake. Let's eat it together." They hurried back to Benny's cottage, ready to tackle the big mess. Polly took a big bite and then another, nibbling as fast as she could. Benny watched hopefully, but even after Polly's best effort, the cake was still enormous. Polly leaned back, rubbing her full belly. "I'm stuffed," Polly said. "I think we need more help." Benny thought and thought. "Maybe I can cover it up," he said. He found his biggest picnic blanket and stretched it over the cake, but it was no use. The blanket only covered a tiny part. The rest of the cake spilled out from underneath like a big fluffy mountain. "Oh no, what am I going to do now?" Benny moaned. Benny sat down and put his head in his paws. "I just wanted to bake a nice cake," he said quietly. "But now I've made a giant mess. I can't fix this on my own." Benny felt like giving up. He stared at the giant cake, wishing he could make it disappear. Suddenly, Benny heard a rustling in the bushes. He looked up and saw all his forest friends coming over. "Wow, Benny, is that a giant cake?" a rabbit asked. "It looks delicious," chirped a little bird. Benny was surprised. "You're not mad at me for making such a big mess?" he asked. "Mad? We're excited," said a raccoon. "We want to help you eat it." All of Benny's friends gathered around the giant cake. The rabbits, squirrels, birds, and even the deer took big bites. Everyone laughed and chatted as they enjoyed the unexpected treat. "This is the best cake party ever. Do you have the recipe? I want to make this at home." Benny chuckled. "I think I need to work on my measurements first," he said with a grin. All the animals laughed together, and Benny knew this was a day they'd never forget. From that day on, Benny made sure to measure his ingredients carefully. But he also learned something important. Even the biggest mistakes can turn into the sweetest surprises when you have friends to share them with. And every time Benny baked, his friends would gather, just in case another happy accident happened again. Fun baking tips for kids. First, always measure your ingredients carefully. Second, don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Third, even if you make a mistake, you can still have fun and learn something new.